All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. We're going to be seeing for these two Google searches, does it have BSS for each Google search, yes or no? So we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And more on this, pinned video, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph in white here. Highest intent people on the left. These are the peeps searching literally today for boudoir photo shoot in their city. We focus on those peeps here with our BSS videos about BSS because these are highest intent, easiest to convert, closest to the money people. Over on the right, our lowest intent people. We talk about those with our sister brand of Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And currently over there, we only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. Now, BSS means boudoir search sameness. It means a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. 0 slots on page 1 on Google means obviously, they're on page 2 or deeper, somewhere deeper. And we care about this because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never ever even hit page 2. They're page 1 and done searches, that's it. Which means if we're on page 2, we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market. And 1 slot on page 1 on Google, that ain't good either because, there's 10 organic slots page 1 on Google. If 9 other boudoir photographers each have 1 slot, everyone's looking the same, everyone's got 1 slot. We're not saying that, we're basically invisible, and guess what? A boudoir photographer is, or a boudoir buyer, their behavior is going to be just clicking through everyone on page 1. Well, approximately 80% of the boudoir buyers, they're only going to be clicking through everyone on page 1. They'll never go to page 2. And they'll be comparing everyone on page 1. And as a result, they will, filling out everyone's contact form, getting price quotes, negotiating, pulling down the price, asking for more. It's kind of annoying to deal with, to run a business that way. And most of them won't even go with us. So it's like, man, what's even the point? Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google is actually not normal. It is a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, the number one thing there is, well, basically everyone knows this. This is more boudoir photographers entering the market over time. Just simply as people upgrade their gear, kind of like get a new iPhone, get a new camera. This just naturally happens. Then eventually they throw up their Google My Business profile saying they're a boudoir photographer. And it's got their website ranking on page 1 on Google they're competing to, saying they shoot boudoir photography. They are also increasingly posting in the mom groups on Facebook that that they now offer boudoir photo shoots. And a big market saturation time with COVID, tons of people lost their jobs, so they earn money. Everyone's got a super powered smartphone with awesome camera. Tons of people became boudoir photographers in that time. Now, the false belief of page 1 equality, this is the new one that very few people know about. So what this is actually a lot of boudoir photographers have kind of assumed or accepted that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google. And it's kind of like, yeah, whether Google wants to give you that slot, yes or no. And maybe you're on, who knows, slot 7, page 1, slot 7. Then some market saturation happened. Now you're on page 2, slot 2. And a lot of boudoir photographers are like, oh, well, I hope those new peeps, delete their website and Google de-indexes them. So maybe Google will bring me back up onto page 1. But no, this is 100% incorrect. This is the wrong way to think about it, because what we have learned and we have the data to show is Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots on Google as we want, and we actually do put in the effort to acquire. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days with this new methodology we discovered. So that's how we know the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. Again, if we got 0 slots page 1 Google search, that means we're page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. If we got 1 slot page 1 on Google, we're looking the same as the other 9 competitors that are on there for a total of 10 slots. We're still invisible, we're still disappearing, we're slowly dying. So both these scenarios, it's kind of the canary in the coal mine, kind of the warning light, the red flag that's telling us our boudoir photography business itself is now on its way to disappearing. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We've discovered that BSS is actually treated with social search saturation, aka our S-cubed methodology. And we know this because we invented it. That's how we went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google in only 10 days. We'll see that data here, I don't know, like 4 or 5 more pictures. Now, S-cubed methodology, the way it works, it's exactly in the name. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, so we show up them there for those. And this is kind of like, when we do this, it's kind of like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains down in South America on the eastern side, the backside. Snow back there. What eventually happens is that snow melts, small streams, small rivers, and guess what? It all flows into the Amazon River. That Amazon River is Google page 1. But to get all that water there, first got to be snow at the top of the mountains. So saturating social search, that's our snow. That's where everything begins. That's the input we care about, our S-cubed methodology. Everything flows from successfully executing S-cubed methodology correctly. And the interesting thing about this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that actually enables them, that gives them a chance for their business to continue to grow, even in the face of market saturation, and even if they don't have a large, well-known brand, and to do all this give them this opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other shot would obviously to have a large, well-known brand to compete against market saturation. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years. We ain't got that time. We got AI taking people's jobs. We don't have time. We don't have 5 to 10 years to build a large, well-known brand. What's actually interesting is utilizing S-cubed methodology. My estimates is it will actually speed up the process of creating a large, well-known brand in an area by approximately 8x, because it'll be seen with such a much higher frequency across so many more platforms. That's my estimates. It's kind of like a secondary benefit of utilizing this technology. So now an example. All right, so right now we're going to Phoenix, and there are currently 1 million boudoir photographers in Phoenix. We are one of them. Since we don't have a large, well-known brand, then the only way we can, everyone's got their websites and their boudoir photographer competing page 1 in Google search. So since nobody's got any of those since there's so many competitors, we realize, all right, we got to use S-cubed methodology to get out of this mess. Let's say we crank it up to the max. Let's say we're ranked for the first 300 slots across all of social search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. And let's say that flows out onto Google. And we're taking up the first 300 organic slots on Google. And we know it's 10 organic slots per page on Google. And so as a result, taking up literally the first 30 pages, and we are basically, for any boudoir buyer to find in any of our competitors, they got to scroll down to slot 301. And on Google, that's page 31. I mean, who's doing that? Basically no one. So when any boudoir buyer is actually searching for, any boudoir photo shoot in our city or any high intent boudoir buyer keyword in our city, we're basically the only ones showing up. And as a result, we, whose business is growing? Most likely ours. Whose business is dying, fading, disappearing? Most likely the other 999,999 boudoir photographers that buyers really can't even find them because we're saturating all the surfaces where they could be found. So this is kind of a ultra extreme example of what S-cubed methodology can enable for a boudoir photography business. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page 1 visibility, P1V. Yeah, we get our initial benefit, more slots page 1 on Google. Got our second initial benefit of every new slot we get page 1 on Google. We actually get, we're actually kicking our competing boudoir photographers in our city off that page, and we effectively make them invisible because now they're on page 2 or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 only searches. So we can basically choose to make our competitors disappear and put their business on the path of disappearing, depending on how much effort we want to put into acquiring all these slots. Now, page one visibility activates Boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. So this is where the GBC universe has a recommended minimum of having minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search. That's because all the other boudoir photographers will basically have 1 slot, so we're going to be dominating them for buyers scrolling page 1. And on the ultra rare case, someone has 2 slots, we're going to be dominating them as well because we have 3. We also know the boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, VBP. So we got our full, basically our full kind of got our full micro universe here. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page one equality, the false belief page one equality. We can now solve it with S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Just our kind of our micro universe here. And now we're gonna look at my results. So the results that I got, purely using S-cubed methodology. So I want to dominate rank for this keyword, BLCS boudoir. I want to dominate page one Google search. And let's see the results I got with it. So we're getting slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10, me. So the best thing about this is I'm from 0 to 10 slots page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search in only 10 days, purely utilizing S-cubed methodology. So now we're back to the meat. Let's see this boudoir photography business. If these 2 Google searches, see if they got see if this business has BSS, yes or no for the local search and the city search. All right, here we go. So we're going to organic. Let's see. All right, here we go. Yep, that's 1. We got 1. So this is the local search, Brentwood, Tennessee. All right, so we got 1. We got, let's see. We only got 1. We got 1 out of 10 organic slots page 1 on Google. So all right, we definitely have BSS for the local search. Let's check our city search. Same thing. So now we're looking at Nashville, Tennessee. All right. Man, was that 10? 1, 2. I guess the discussion took up a huge chunk. Dang. Dude, we're at 0 out of 10 on Nashville. So we got boudoir search statements for both. Or this boudoir photography business has boudoir search statements for both Google searches. But now we got something that can fix that, S-cubed methodology. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've actually done your local searches, done your city searches for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your city, and you're seeing you had either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 Google search for any of those searches, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots for any of those searches, and you've accepted the fact that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief, and you actually see an S-cubed methodology is the only way forward, and you've actually been waiting for something like this. You're loving the initial benefits, more slots page 1 on Google. You're especially loving kicking competitors off page 1 on Google, reducing them, page 2 or deeper, where we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even reach page 2. So make them visible to essentially approximately 80% of the marketplace. And you're looking ahead and you're saying, man, AI is taking a lot of people's jobs right now. It's going to take even more and more people's jobs in the future. Last time that happened, COVID, a ton of boudoir photographers entered the marketplace because everyone's got a super powered smartphone, got awesome camera, and everyone still needs to earn money. So guess what? You already are anticipating a massive more market saturation, already more than, kind of standard people upgrading their gear. So way more on top of that. and you realize, man, you actually got to fortify your position on page one Google search. You need to have actually so many links that Google could rank page one in Google search that it runs out of slots, and then you start filling up page 2, 3, 4. Basically fortify your position so much that so that no current boudoir photographer can ever rank on page one again, nor could any future boudoir photographer that comes in because AI took their job ever has the chance to rank again. And so you're saying, man, how to get all those links kind of circulating? And you're saying again, S cubed methodology is the only methodology that enables that. You're also liking that, kind of the way this technology works is we're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns around our brand, basically plug into our brand for the different keywords we're utilizing and ranking for, that every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, we're actually increasing the probability to be shown up here way at the top, AI overview. The most premium placement is an organic placement. We can now buy this, cannot pay for this with ads. So increasing the probability of being here every day, the most premium placement on the page. There's some people that will just come here, click and buy from this person. We're also increasing the probability every single day that AI, search apps recommend us as well. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot. Every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, we're increasing probably these guys recommend us for their, basically in their search. And last time I searched for boudoir photographer in a city, I actually, ChatGPT, I did with ChatGPT, it recommended me 3 peeps. And then went and looked manually, Google search, manual Facebook search. And dude, there's like 60 boudoir photographers in the city. So I'm like, man, we got to find a way to get one of these 3, AI recommended slots in the AI search apps ASAP. And you're saying SQ methodology is the only solution that can give you that benefit as well. And you're seeing that the kind of showing up on all these surfaces over time, social search, Google search, and these invisible thematic keywords attached to us. We're actually building our brand at an estimated 8x rate, kind of fast tracking us getting a large, well-known brand in our city so that market saturation affects us way less. You also understand my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. So you can actually get all these benefits, build all this AI mindshare momentum in the back-end keywords, these invisible thematic keyword columns attached to your brand, kind of your social handles, your name, your website name, and prevent your competitors from participating, getting any of these benefits at all. So build up basically like a massive gap that approximately no competitor currently or in the future will ever be able to overcome. So you decide to be a first mover advantage and hop on this first because you understand the converse, which is one of your boudoir photographer competitors in your city signing on with me first. They get all these benefits, more slots page one on Google, kicking people like you off page one of Google off to page 2, 3, 4, or even deeper, fortifying their position. So basically none of their competitors, including you, basically ever have a chance to rank page one on Google. Build up such a massive backend AI keyword mindshare so that the no competitors, including you, basically have ever a chance to catch up with them, being recommended for AI overview and recommended in AI search, and building up their brand so much faster, approximately 8x faster than any other strategy. And you're realizing to compete in that scenario, you would actually have to rederive SQ methodology for yourself on your own. You would never actually be 100% confident you successfully derived it. And then you'd have to go and successfully equal our daily execution of that methodology. And if you did all that, you would simply be maintaining the current gap me and your competitor have already achieved ahead of you. So to make inroads, kind of make some distance on that gap, close that gap, you'd actually have to double or triple our output every single day. And then if you did that, you actually wouldn't even be confident to put in that much time because again, you would never be 100% confident you've derived the methodology correctly in the first place. And then even if you did, who's got 80 hours to do all that? So you realize on all that, and you're like, screw that. You decide to be the first mover, sign on first, get this out of the way, make sure you don't miss out on this opportunity. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. The hospital is currently closed for new patients, but when the hospital does open for new patients, shoot us a DM, and we will see if you qualify for utilizing our S cubed methodology.